So now, before we move into the strategy for this particular topic, let's try to see last time's paper and see what type of questions were asked last year. Okay. So obviously, by now you might have been able to appreciate that there are two types of question that is asked, or it can keep changing. You never know how they will answer. So last time, so once they had asked 12.5 marks, 20 questions. Now they have asked 10 and 15 marker questions, 20. Somewhere something else they had asked before. So don't worry, it's going to range somewhere from 10 marker to 15 markers. Not more than that is what I believe. So 10 markers ke liye you write 150 words, and 15 marker ke liye you probably write about 200 to 250 words, 200 to 250 words. So if you see last time they had asked 6 questions. Okay, so 10 means so 40 plus 2, 30, so 70. So 70 out of 250. So that's almost 1/3 approximately. Yes or no? Right? So this is what we can get from social issue from this section. Okay, and I'm sure if you just address what we are going to do in the class, you can easily get around 50-55 marks right from this. It's a very scoring topic, and you can get it. You just follow what I tell you, you can get it. Don't worry at all. Right. So we'll just see the type of questions so that you can appreciate what kind of questions are asked. Okay. So here you have discussed the deterministic theory of social change. So I told you social change, there are several theories, cyclical theory and all that like this. One of them is deterministic theory. Very simple. Discuss the deterministic theory. So maybe you can dedicate about 80% of your answer about talking about what is deterministic theory, what are the features of it. When we do it in class and when you have fresh in this one, you can also write certain terms, names of people who were involved in that theory. So that will go a long way. So studying, not studying, that's the difference. Okay, not only will you get ideas, but also you will be able to write those individual facts. Is that understood? So who gave this theory and what does this theory says? What are the features? And then since it's discussed, 20% should be also dedicated to counter argument of this theory. Some criticism may be there that it is wrong, it is talking like this, there is shortage in this theory, atara, you can be asked. Did you all understand? Similarly, if you see, explain the concept of direct question, Sanskritization. What is Sanskritization? Who gave Sanskritization? Right? What are the features of Sanskritization? Right? So because the concept is explain, you don't have to go beyond that. You don't have to write criticism and things like that. You just stick to what are the features of Sanskritization. Then discuss the features that are responsible for changing status of women. So if you see, these two questions are very direct. Okay, the scope for you to experiment, etc., is less. But over here, discuss the factors that are responsible for change in the status of women. Is a very open-ended question where your writing skill will come into effect. However you write. Okay, so how do you structure your answer? Economic factors, social factors, okay, political factors, external factors, okay, historical factors, etc. Social move. But again, because if you see the paper only, you'll get to know this is to do with society. So you will stress more on social factors leading to change in women. Okay, along with that only, like political factors, okay, like legislatures, the constitution itself, okay, economic factors, urbanization, industrialization, empowerment, those things. Atara, you can subclassify, you can write it. Okay, and you can give examples, okay, of personalities or people who have undergone change. Just small things you can write and draw flow charts. Is that okay? So like that you can write. Is defective system of Indian education an indicator of youth unrest? Analyze. Actually, these three we had covered in the class itself, but this was not something which you would have directly covered. Okay, in the class, something which you have to cook up in the class. So the third variety of question that is asked is where you have some basic knowledge, but then you will have to cook up those answers. Here, we would have studied it, we would have discussed, but we wouldn't have, like, because it's an open-ended question. But in the fourth one, defective system of Indian education, youth unrest, analyze. Okay, like for example, the type of education that is given in our country do not focus on skill development. Because of lack of skill, once they come out of the education system as graduates, they are not employable. When they are not employable, there is unemployment. And because of unemployment, there is youth unrest. Alva, Atara is an example. Okay, then the kind of value education provided in our country, okay, prevents social cohesion. This again leads to youth unrest. Things like that. So that again comes with experience. When you read more, we would have studied youth unrest in general. We would have studied problem of education in general. Bring them both together and write your answer. Atara. So that is something like that. Next, social policy, bringing social change. That is directed social change. It's again a very direct question. Discuss it. How social change is bringing about social change. Because it's discussed, you'll have to also write the counter argument also. There are certain things that cannot be changed simply merely by legislature. Alva, now when we see about women's entry into religious institutions or rights to women, even in spite of legislations being enacted, they are vehemently opposed by the people. Okay, polygamy, other things. So many things are there which are against the rights of the women, where in spite of the inaction, it is still happening. Like female infanticide, in spite of the PCPNDT Act, do you think it is not happening? Obviously, it is happening if you see the sex ratio. So how, even though we have legislation, social policies to prevent female infanticide, still it is happening and discuss. Because it's discussed, you'll have to write even that argument is what I'm trying to say. So you write the how it is leading to change, and also you write how it is not enough, okay, to bring about change. And then what is modernization? Factors responsible for the process of modernization. Direct question. You got it? So like this, most of the questions will be direct. Some will be, you can write it with the knowledge that you have. Some you might have to put a little bit extra effort. So if this kind of question is asked, aram se out of 70, you will get aram se 50 marks. Is that okay? So this is the target that we should achieve. Okay, so on one hand, building the concepts, building the content, and the third one is writing answers. Three-pronged strategy. Okay. If you do this, irrespective of what is asked in any subject, actually, this is what we are trying to do also. Building the concepts. Okay. At least here there are concepts. Like history and all, it's only content, not the concept. Alva. So you have to know the content, the story is enough. Here you have to know the concept also. You need to have the enough content like the names and the definitions and the personality, etc. And then you need to also structure and write good answers as per the demand of the question. Alva. So this is what you need to do.